Russia is known for its army of hackers and has been lauded as a cyber superpower. In the past, Russian cyber attacks have taken out electric grids, hacked elections, bankrupted corporations, and disabled military infrastructure. But since the start of its invasion of Ukraine, dozens of Russian organizations, including government agencies, oil and gas companies, and financial institutions, have been hacked, with terabytes of stolen data leaked onto the internet. That's because on day 3 after Russian tanks began invading Ukraine, the country's Minister of Digital Transformation published a call for arms on Twitter. In his tweet, Mikhailo Fedorov did not urge his fellow citizens to take up rifles, but instead called for people around the world to defend Ukraine in cyberspace and join the Cyber Front. The tweet marked the first time that during a war, a government openly called for volunteers around the world to attack its enemy in cyberspace. In this video, you're going to learn about the crowdsourced cyber war in the Ukraine-Russia conflict. But before we get started, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Done that? Let's go. The Russian invasion of the Ukraine was bound to take place in part in cyberspace. While the use of Russian offensive security operations against the West has long been alleged, the rise of crowdsourced security efforts in the current war has taken an interesting turn. The war is not just being waged in the physical world, it's also happening online. And average people are taking part, not just governments. The world was already supplying Ukraine with anti-tank missiles and military intelligence. But Vice Prime Minister Mikhailo Fedorov, tweeting a link to a public channel on Telegram, also called for hackers and tech specialists to join the Cyber Front to help protect critical infrastructure and conduct cyber spying missions against Russian troops. On the same day of Russia's unprovoked attack against Ukraine, a Twitter account associated with the anonymous hacking collective called on hackers from around the globe to target Russia and began recruiting volunteers to get involved in the cyber war. Anonymous has proven to be a very capable group that has penetrated some high-value targets, records, and databases in the Russian Federation. The account has claimed responsibility for disabling prominent Russian government, news, and corporate websites, and leaking data from entities such as Roskomnadzor, the federal agency responsible for censoring Russian media. More than 300 government websites were temporarily disabled, Russian TV channels were hijacked to play Ukrainian songs, and documents from Belarusian weapons manufacturers and Russian Sberbank were leaked as loosely organized groups of volunteer hackers pledged to retaliate against the Kremlin for its invasion of Ukraine. Media reports state that the IT army could number more than 400,000 people inside and outside the country, and it has done more than deface or take down Russian websites. They're also helping the country by providing intelligence, attacking military systems, and circumventing Russian domestic censorship of news about the war by sending Russian individuals information and pictures about the war by phone, text, and messaging apps. Ukraine's Deputy Minister of Digital Information, Oleksandr Bornyakov, is leading a cryptocurrency crowdfunding effort, raising about $70 million in crypto donations to date, which goes directly into government coffers to fund Ukraine's civilian resistance. Even bug bounty platforms like Ukrainian-owned Hackin.io has joined the war on Russia by launching a cyber army via email to all security researchers signed up to the platform, as a means to get involved directly in the conflict by discovering vulnerabilities in Russian websites to be leveraged by Ukrainian military assets. The Bug Bounty program calls for tech professionals and security researchers to select a Russian propaganda or infrastructure website, find critical vulnerabilities, then submit a report. Before closing with a statement, "That's it," we'll put it in the good hands of Ukrainian cyber forces. If anything, this new style of crowdsourced hacktivism shows that Russia has become the biggest victim of cyber warfare, not Ukraine. The truth about the war in Ukraine is being disseminated across Russia in every way possible. Disabled Russian websites displayed the message, "Dear citizens, we urge you to stop this madness. Do not send your sons and husbands to certain death. Putin is forcing us to lie and is putting us in danger." And so, the digital war in Ukraine has turned into a global free-for-all. The independent and state-backed attacks in both Russia and Ukraine will likely create more confusion on the ground. both organizing and attributing attacks is becoming impossible. While it remains unclear if Russia's government intends or is able to carry out more devastating cyber attacks, the whole world is watching Ukrainian internet networks. At this stage, it's difficult to judge how much impact these attacks have had on the Russian invasion, and whether hacktivists will be able to pull off sophisticated cyber attacks on Russia's critical infrastructure remain unclear. Some experts say that the work of cyber guerrillas can help Ukraine sow chaos in Russia, as the country is defending itself against the Russian invasion. Others warn that the efforts could interfere with strategic operations by Ukraine's official cyber authorities or Western intelligence services. Both could be right. At the same time, Moscow seems unlikely to watch the attacks without retaliating. The country has spent the last 15 years building up some of the world's most advanced cyber capacities, and it has used them before, infiltrating Ukraine's power grid in 2015. Because of the loosely defined scope and highly charged geopolitical tension, this is where things can start to go awry if you're unleashing crowds of zealous security researchers on targets that supposedly impact one side or the other. But in reality, they may have nothing to do with it, and therefore become an innocent bystander. The entry of more non-state actors has added a hard-to-quantify variable to a conflict awash with disinformation campaigns and opaque cyber operations. All it would take today is a single tweet defining a company, an individual, or an asset that's in league with the Russian invasion, and therefore would feel the wrath of the masses online, without any gatekeeper there to validate the intelligence in the first place. While companies around the world are evaluating their exposure to this conflict and trying to shore up their defenses against Russian retaliation from the sanctions imposed, it is increasingly likely that we will see companies caught up in the tidal wave of outrage and become victims to the crowd when they are named and shamed, and their online assets attacked because of vague association to one side or the other. Yet, the crowdsourced cyberwar is not just being fought on Ukraine's side. Within Moscow's sphere of influence, one prominent hacking group has joined the fight. The Conti ransomware gang pledged full support to the Kremlin on its website and warned that it would launch cyber attacks against critical infrastructure of countries that organize any war activities against Russia. The fear is that non-state actors' entrance into the fight on either side could add confusion that leads to escalation between Russia and other countries, potentially spilling over into World War III. Today, anyone, including the stereotypical hacker in a hoodie working out of their parents' basement, can join in on a cyber war. As the Ukraine-Russia conflict rages on, more and more people from around the world are joining the conflict from the comfort of their own home. Cyber attacks have become accessible unlike ever before, meaning cyber war is no longer solely the domain of highly sophisticated government hackers. Technology, whether it be in the form of software tools, social media platforms, or instantaneous messaging, has expanded the Ukraine-Russia war from one that is confined by geographical boundaries to one whose reach is only limited by the internet. In this conflict, the networks and computers around the world have proven to be just as much a battlefield as the cities in Ukraine. Crowdsourcing cyber attacks is not new, but we are now seeing it on a scale unlike ever before, and the potential impact of so many different players becoming involved remains to be seen. We are in uncharted territory, and how it plays out is anyone's guess. So what are your thoughts on the cyber war? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Until next time.